There's a different kind of silence inside abandoned places. Not peaceful, not empty, just waiting. Rainwater drips through broken ceilings. Wind moves down hollow hallways, and every step echoes longer than it should. Tonight's stories aren't about ghosts chasing you. They're about buildings that remember who entered, and quietly decide who gets to leave. There are places on maps that don't exist anymore, and then there are places that were removed, not abandoned, not destroyed, erased. I didn't believe that until I found Ash Hollow. I'm an urban explorer, not the reckless type. I research locations, check ownership, avoid trespassing when possible. Old factories, abandoned schools, forgotten hospitals. I document decay. History left behind 3 months ago. I received an email with no subject line, just coordinates. No message, no name. Just latitude and longitude. I assumed it was a fan sending a location suggestion. I dropped the coordinates into a map. Nothing appeared. Just a blank stretch of forest near the Kentucky-West Virginia border. Deep Appalachian region. No marked roads. No town names, just trees. But when I switched to an archived 1987 satellite layer there, it was a town. Small, maybe 30 buildings. One main road, labeled Ash Hollow. I searched it online. Nothing. No articles, no census records, no mention of it ever existing, except on scanned 1974 state road map I found in a university archive database. Ash Hollow was clearly marked, population 312, then gone. By 1990, it wasn't listed anywhere. That's when curiosity took over, and curiosity is dangerous in places people tried to forget. It took me 6 hours to reach the forest access road. The GPS stopped working about 2 miles in. Signal died completely. Expected. The dirt road was barely visible. Like it hadn't been driven in decades. Trees leaned over it like they were closing in, branches scraping the sides of my SUV. Eventually, the road opened up, and I saw it, a sign half buried. And weeds, wood rotted, letters faded but still readable. Welcome to Ash. Hasholelo W. Underneath it something had been scratched into the wood. Over and over, the same phrase. Don't look back. I should have turned around. Instead, I grabbed my camera and walked in. The town layout was simple. One main street, buildings. On either side, general store, gas station, post office, church at the end, all intact. Not burned, not vandalized, just empty. Windows dusty but not shattered, doors hanging open slightly, like people left in a hurry but planned to return. There were no signs of looting, no graffiti, no animal nesting. It felt preserved, paused. The air was quiet in a way that felt unnatural. No birds, no insects, no wind, just silence thick enough to feel in your ears. I began filming. Narrating softly for my channel, exploring a fully abandoned Appalachian town. No visible damage, no decay consistent with long-term exposure. That's when I noticed something strange. There were no personal items, no clothes, no photographs, no furniture. Every building was empty inside, not stripped, just never furnished. As if it was built, but never lived in. The floors were clean, no dust. Footprints except mine. I entered the general store, shelves installed, cash register on counter, but no products, no signage. The register drawer was open, empty. I stepped behind the counter and froze, because there were footprints, not mine, fresh, in the thin layer of dust near the back door, barefoot, human-shaped, leading outside. I walked out the back door slowly. The prints continued into the street, then stopped abruptly in the center of the road. No turning, no scuffle, just gone, like whoever made them vanished midst. The air felt colder suddenly. I looked around, still silent, still empty. Then I heard a door close, soft, from inside one of the houses across the street. I stared at it. No movement, but I was sure I heard it. Wood against wood, deliberate. I crossed the street slowly, every step echoing louder than it should. The house door was now fully shut. I know it was open before. I had filmed that side of the street already. My pulse quickened. Wind, I muttered. Except there was no wind. I reached the porch, placed my hand on the knob. Cold, ice cold. I turned it slowly. Door creaked open. Inside still empty. Bare floors, bare walls. But in the center of the living room a single wooden chair, facing the doorway that wasn't there before. I stepped inside carefully, camera raised. The chair was old, but intact, dust-free, like it had been placed there recently, facing the exact angle of the door. Like someone had been sitting there, waiting. My breathing sounded too loud. I circled the chair, nothing behind it, nothing underneath it. I crouched, slyly, and noticed something carved into the seat, small, repeated, "Don't look back," over and over. Dozens of times, like someone sat there carving it obsessively. A floorboard creaked behind me. I spun around, nothing there. But the front door was now closed, hard shut. I didn't hear it move. I rushed to it, pulled it open. Outside, street still empty, sunlight unchanged, town still silent. But something was wrong. The SUV. It wasn't where I parked it. I walked down the street. It was gone. My stomach dropped. I ran back to where I entered town. The dirt road leading in was gone. Trees, dense forest, no clearing, no path, just woods. I turned in slow circles. The town was still there, but it felt closer now. Buildings. Leaning inward slightly. Shadows longer. And then I heard it. Footsteps behind me. Bare feet slapping softly against pavement. Slow, unhurried. I didn't turn around. Case I remembered the sign, "Don't look back." The footsteps stopped directly behind me. Close enough that I could feel breath on the back of my neck. Cold, slow, deliberate. "Eh?" Whisper brushed past my ear. "You looked." I didn't remember looking back. But my shadow on the pavement wasn't alone. There were two. There were two shadows, me and one standing directly behind me. I didn't move, didn't breathe. The second shadow was taller. Its head tilted slightly to one side, just like someone studying something unfamiliar. Studying me. The whisper came. Again, closer this time. "You looked back." My throat felt glued shut. I forced myself to speak. I didn't. Silence. Then yes. "You did." The second shadow shifted. Its head leaned closer, toward mine. By when I slowly lowered my eyes to the pavement, there was no body casting it, only empty air behind me. I felt fingers brush lightly against my shoulder, not grabbing, not violent, just confirming I was real. I spun around. Nothing. The street was empty. But the town felt tighter now, buildings closer than before. Like the entire place had shrunk by a few feet. The sky above looked wrong too. Clouds frozen mid-drift, no movement at all. I took a slow step forward. The barefoot footsteps resumed behind. Me, matching my pace, exactly. Step for step. If I stopped, they stopped. If I walked, they walked. But I refused to turn around again. The sign said, "Don't look back." And whatever this place was, it followed rules. That meant rules could be used. I started walking toward the church at the end of the road. It felt important, like the center of something. The door was slightly open, dark inside, as I climbed the steps. The footsteps behind me stopped completely. No breathing, no whispering, just silence. I pushed the church door open. It creaked slowly, inside and like the other buildings. This one wasn't empty. Wooden pews filled the room, perfectly aligned. Dust-free, facing the altar. Every single pew was occupied by shadows, not solid figures, not transparent ghosts, just silhouettes, human shapes, sitting upright, facing forward, waiting. I couldn't see faces, just outlines, but every single head slowly turned toward me at the same time. The temperature dropped instantly. The whisper came again, but now it wasn't behind me. It was everywhere. You looked back. The church door slammed shut behind me. I flinched but didn't turn, didn't look. Instead, I stepped forward carefully. The shadow figures remained seated, watching. As I walked down the aisle, their heads turned to follow me. Not smoothly, but in small, delayed movements, like frames skipping. When I reached the front, I saw something that made my stomach twist. In the very first row was a solid figure, not a shadow, a real person, sitting upright, facing forward, wearing my clothes, my jacket, my boots, my watch. It slowly turned its head toward me. It had my face perfectly formed, no distortion, no wrong features, just me, but its eyes were completely black. And it smiled gently. "You made it back," it said calmly, my voice. Perfect mimicry. I didn't respond, because behind me the church pews creaked. Every shadow stood up at once, and they were tall, taller than normal people. Limbs slightly too long, necks bending at wrong angles. All facing me, all silent. The version of me in the front pew stood up slowly. "It's simple," it said. "You were supposed to leave without looking." "I didn't," I whispered. "You did?" it replied softly. "When you heard the steps." My chest tightened. It was right. I hadn't turned physically. But I thought about it. I imagined it. I checked my shadow. That counted. In this place, intention was the same as action. The version of me stepped closer. The shadows behind me took one synchronized step forward. "You can't leave now," it said gently. "Ash Hollow keeps the ones who notice." The church walls creaked loudly. I glanced toward a window, and my breath caught. There was no forest outside anymore. No sky, just endless rows of buildings, copies of the same town stretching infinitely, stacked unnaturally close together, like the town had folded in on itself, trapping everything inside. "You'll sit," it continued calmly, "and wait for someone else." I shook my head slowly. No. The version of me tilted its head, confused. "Everyone waits. I won't." The shadows behind me began moving forward, faster, closing in. Their footsteps didn't make sound, but the floorboards groaned under their weight. I backed toward the altar. My hand brushed against something solid behind it. A rope attached to the old church bell. An idea hit me. If the town followed rules, maybe sound mattered. Maybe silence was part of the trap. Without hesitation, I grabbed the rope and pulled with everything I had. The bell rang, loud, violent, shattering the stillness. The shadows froze instantly. The version of me flinched. The sound echoed unnaturally long, like it was tearing through something invisible. I rang it again, and again, and again. The church walls began cracking. The sky outside flickered. The shadow figures began distorting, stretching vertically, like smoke pulled upward. The version of me screamed, but not in pain. In frustration. "You weren't supposed to make noise." The entire town shook violently, buildings outside collapsing inward like paper folding, the infinite copies flickering out. The shadows dissolved into the floorboards, I kept ringing the bell until everything went white. When I opened my eyes, my SUV parked 20 feet away, keys still in my pocket, camera beside me, still recording. I sat up slowly. The dirt road was clear, visible, normal, no town, no sign, just forest. I checked the footage immediately. The recording showed me walking into the forest clearing and stopping, standing still for 2 hours, talking to no one, walking in slow circles, then collapsing. No buildings, no town, no church, nothing, just trees. But at the very end of the footage, right before I fell, the camera glitched for half a second. And in the center of it, a figure standing in the road, watching me, with my face. That video is still on my channel. Most viewers say it's just compression glitching, digital artifacting. But sometimes when I wake up at night, I feel the mattress dip slightly behind me, and I hear barefoot steps on pavement, matching my breathing, waiting for me to look back again. Because Ash Hollow wasn't erased, it's still there, layered over this world, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. Every city has an old hotel people forget about, not condemned, not demolished, just outdated. The Briarwood Grand opened in 1926. 12 floors, ballroom, restaurant, rooftop bar. It was luxury once. Now it survives on low reviews and cheaper rates than anything else downtown. I booked a room there because of a rumor. I'd heard it twice from different sources. Once from a rideshare driver, once from a hotel worker in a different state who refused to elaborate. Both said the same thing. Theirs at 13th floor. The Briarwood officially has 12, no 13th floor button in the elevator. No listing in the emergency evacuation plans. No record in architectural documents. But guests sometimes wake up there. Not check in. Not request it, wake up there, and the hotel denies it exists, so I checked in under my real name. Room 904, 9th floor. The lobby was beautiful in a tired kind of way. Marble floors cracked at the edges, brass chandeliers dimmer than they should be. The front desk clerk didn't smile when I mentioned I was filming urban architecture for my channel. She just slid the key card across and said, "Elevators are slow." Her eyes lingered on me half a second too long, like she wanted to say something, but didn't. The elevator was old but functional. Buttons from B to 12. Number 13, I pressed 9. Doors closed. The elevator climbed slowly. The lights flickered between 7 and 8. Then everything went dark for 1 full second. When the lights came back, the display said 13. There was number 13 button. No sound of mechanical change. Just 13 glowing faintly on the panel. My stomach tightened. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. I should have stayed inside. Instead, I stepped out. Curiosity is always louder than fear. The hallway looked identical to the others. Same carpet, same wallpaper, same soft yellow lighting. But the air felt thicker, heavier, like breathing through fabric. The elevator doors closed behind me. When I turned back, the display above them didn't show 13 anymore. It showed 9. I pressed the call button. Nothing. No sound. No response. The hallway stretched long in both directions. Too long. Longer than the building should physically allow. The doors were numbered, neatly spaced, perfectly normal. Except there shouldn't be this many rooms. The Briarwood floor plan only supports 20 rooms per level. I counted 27 doors on the right side alone. The silence was complete. No TVs, no plumbing noise, no footsteps. I walked slowly down the hall, The carpet felt soft, almost damp, as if it had absorbed something over time. At room 1312, the door was slightly open, just an inch, light spilling out. Faintly, I stopped, listened. No sound. I pushed the door open slowly. Inside the room was furnished. Bed made, lamp on, suitcase open on the luggage rack, clothes neatly folded inside, shoes by the bed, bathroom light on, shower running, steam drifting. Slowly into the bedroom, but no one there. Hello? I called softly. The shower kept running. I stepped inside, carefully. The air was warm, humid. The mirror above the desk was fogged. I moved closer and saw something written in the condensation. 3 words. Don't fall asleep. My pulse quickened. I backed away from the mirror. The shower turned off. Abruptly, silence flooded the room. Then the bed shifted, a slight indentation forming near the pillow, like someone sitting down. I stared. The mattress dipped further. The pillow compressed, as if a head had just rested on it. The blanket pulled slightly upward, breathing, slow, measured. I stepped backward toward the door. The hallway lights flickered once, then steadied, the indentation. On the bed deepened. The pillow pressed down harder, like someone rolling toward the edge. Toward me. I didn't wait. I left the room, closed the door, walked faster down the hallway. The numbers began repeating. Again, but in a different order. The carpet felt softer now, almost like walking on something hollow. The lights overhead buzzed faintly. I tried another door. Locked. Another. Locked. At the end of the hall there was a window. That shouldn't be there. The Briarwood's design doesn't allow end windows on interior hallways. But there it was. Curtains, slightly parted. I approached, slowly. Looked outside. There was no city. No skyline, no streets. Just darkness. Infinite. And faintly rows of lit hotel windows floating in the void, each one identical, each one part of the Briarwood. Layered endlessly, I leaned closer, and in one of the distant windows I saw myself, standing. There, looking out, but I wasn't moving, I wasn't breathing, just standing, frozen. Behind me in that reflection, something was entering the room. Tall, thin, unnaturally straight posture. I stepped back from the window quickly. Heart hammering. When I turned around, the hallway was different. The lights were dimmer, the carpet darker, and every single door was open. All of them, rooms identical. Inside, beds made, lights on, suitcases open, showers running, mirrors fogged, and in every mirror, the same message. Don't fall asleep. The air suddenly felt heavier. My eyelids felt tired, exhausted. Like I hadn't slept in days. A wave of drowsiness hit hard, unnatural, forced. I staggered slightly. The carpet beneath my feet felt softer, almost like a mattress. The hallway lights dimmed another notch. Somewhere behind me a door clicked shut. Then another, one by one, working down the hall, closing, approaching me. I turned slowly. At the far end a figure stood in the center of the corridor, perfectly still, dressed in a hotel uniform, bellhop hat, face shadowed, too tall, arms hanging slightly too low. It raised one hand slowly and pointed at me, then at the nearest open room. Inviting. My knees felt weak. The urge to lie down was overwhelming, like gravity had increased. The carpet beneath me dipped slightly, like it was ready to swallow. The bell head tilted unnaturally to one side, and in a voice that sounded like layered whispers overlapping check-in. The last hallway light flickered and went out. Darkness swallowed the hallway, not complete darkness. Just dim enough to make shapes uncertain. The bellhop was still there. I could see its outline at the far end of the corridor. Too tall, too straight, hat tilted slightly forward, face completely shadowed. It pointed again, toward the nearest open room. Check in. Its voice echoed strangely, like it was coming from inside the walls instead of its mouth. My eyelids felt heavier by the second. The air pressed down on my shoulders. I understood. The rule now, don't fall asleep, because this floor wasn't a place you visit. It was a place you stayed. I took a step backward. The carpet sank deeper under my weight, like standing on soaked sponge. The bellhop glided forward, not walking, just moving closer without shifting its legs. Doors along the hallway began shutting. Again, slow, soft clicks, one by one, trapping me between the dark end of the corridor and the only open room left, room 1313, of course. The bellhop stopped outside it, its arm extended unnaturally long. Fingers brushing the door frame. "Your room," it whispered. The open doorway felt like a vacuum, pulling me inward, warm air drifting out, soft lamp glow, inviting. The bed inside was perfectly made, crisp white sheets, pillows fluffed, turned down chocolate. Resting neatly on the blanket, comfortable, safe looking, I felt my body lean slightly toward it, my mind fogged. Just lie down, just close your eyes for a second. The bellhop stepped closer, and for the first time, I saw its face under the flickering light. There was no face, just smooth skin stretched tight across a skull shape. No eyes, no mouth, but something moved beneath the surface, as if features were forming slowly from underneath, learning, imitating, waiting to settle. The thing raised its hand again, then pressed it gently against my chest, cold, not icy, just empty, and suddenly the hallway disappeared. I was in a hotel room, but not standing, lying down, in bed, sheets pulled up to my chest. The lights were dim, peaceful, calm. My shoes were gone, my jacket folded neatly on the chair. I tried to sit up, my body didn't respond. I looked down and realized I wasn't moving because I wasn't controlling this body. I was watching, from somewhere above, from the ceiling corner, looking down at myself. Sleeping, peacefully, breathing slow. The room door opened quietly. The bell entered, but it wasn't tall anymore. It was shorter, proportioned correctly. Face fully formed now. My face, perfectly detailed. It walked to the bed, stood beside it, and watched me sleep. Then it leaned down, whispered something into my ear. The sleeping version of me smiled faintly, and the body on the bed slowly dissolved, not violently, not painfully, just faded into the mattress, like sinking into water, leaving the sheets undisturbed. The bellhop straightened up, adjusted its uniform, and looked directly at Mupe in the ceiling corner. It smiled with my face. "You checked in." The room flickered violently. I gasped awake in the elevator. The lights buzzing overhead, the display reading 9, doors closed. My fingers still pressing the 9 button, like none of it happened. The elevator dinged softly. Doors opened, 9th floor hallway, normal, quiet. Room 904 straight ahead. I stumbled out slowly, heart pounding, sweat soaking my shirt. I checked my phone. Las 11:42 p.m. Exactly the time I first stepped into the elevator. No missing hours, no time gap. I rushed into room 904, locked the door, checked the bathroom, closet, under the bed. Nothing. Normal hotel room. I laughed nervously. Exhaustion, old wiring, imagination. I must have blacked out briefly in the elevator. That's all. I poured a glass of water from the sink, hands still shaking, and that's when I noticed it. On the desk beside the TV, a small folded card, cream-colored, embossed, in gold lettering. I hadn't seen it before. I picked it up. It read, "Welcome to the 13th floor. We hope you enjoy your STA1. Underneath that, in smaller print, shutout is not AVA. Labeline, my stomach dropped. A soft knock echoed from my door. 3 slow taps. I froze. Another knock. Polite, patient. Then a familiar voice from the hallway. My voice. Housekeeping. The door handle rattled gently. I stepped backward. The lights flickered once, then twice. The room temperature dropped slightly, and from beneath the bed I heard breathing. Slow, measured, matching. Mine perfectly. The door unlocked with a soft click. I know I locked it. The handle turned slowly. The door opened just an inch, and I saw a face through the crack. Mine face, smiling calmly. "Sir," it said politely, "you left something upstairs." The lights went out. When I came to, I was lying on a bed, room quiet, lamp glowing softly. I sat up slowly. Everything felt normal, peaceful, rested. I looked around. Nice room, comfortable. I didn't remember checking in, but I must have. There was a suitcase by the door, clothes folded neatly inside, bathroom light on, mirror fogged slightly. I stood and walked toward it, on. The condensation 3 words were written clearly. "Don't fall asleep." I turned slowly toward the door. It had a brass number plate, and outside saw footsteps move down the hallway. Stopping at another door, 3 slow knocks. Housekeeping. There's an amusement park outside of town that officially closed in 2008. No fire, no scandal, no major accident. Attendance dropped. Maintenance costs rose. It shut down quietly. The rides were left standing. The mascots packed into storage. The gates chained. But here's the thing. Every year, on exactly one night, the lights come back on. Not flicker, not randomly. Fully operational. Ferris wheel spinning. Carousel music playing. Roller coaster running empty. At midnight, no staff, no guests, no power source. I thought it was an urban legend, until I saw it myself. The park sits 20 miles outside city limits, surrounded by flat farmland and dying trees. The sign above the gate still reads, Silverwood Shores. Letters faded, paint peeling. The parking lot is cracked and overgrown, weeds pushing through asphalt, ticket booths dusty and shattered. It looks dead, completely. I went there at 11:30 p.m. on October 14th, the rumored date. No security, no fencing besides the rusted gate. I climbed through easily. The air smelled stale, like old metal and standing water. The park layout was simple. Entrance plaza, food stands, arcade building, carousel. To the right, Ferris wheel towering in the distance. Roller coaster tracks silhouetted against the sky, all silent, all still. My flashlight cut thin beams through darkness. I filmed as I walked, explaining the legend, laughing nervously, because it really did look dead. I checked my watch. 11:58 p.m. Nothing. Just wind brushing through broken booths. 11:59. The air shifted. Not colder, just heavier. Like pressure building before a storm. Midnight. Exactly. Every light in the park snapped on at once. Not gradually, instantly. Neon signs glowing bright. String lights flickering alive. Arcade windows shining. Music exploded from somewhere unseen. Old carnival music. Cheerful. Distorted slightly. I froze. The Ferris wheel began turning slowly. One carriage at a time. The carousel lit up. Horses rising and falling. And the roller coaster climbed its first incline with loud mechanical clicking. No. Power lines connected. no generators visible, but everything was running perfectly. I whispered into my camera, "This isn't possible." A loud ding echoed from the ticket booth behind me. I turned slowly. The booth window was now clean, polished, light glowing inside, and someone sitting there. A teenage girl in a red uniform vest, smiling politely, like she'd been there the whole time. "Admission is free tonight," she said sweetly. Her voice didn't echo, didn't distort. It sounded perfectly normal, but there was something wrong with her eyes. They didn't blink at all. I didn't respond, just backed up slowly. The music grew louder, more layered, like multiple songs playing at once. Children's laughter echoed faintly in the distance. I turned toward the Ferris wheel. Every carriage now had someone inside. Silhouettes, sitting perfectly still, facing forward. The wheel rotated smoothly. I scanned the plaza. The food stands were open, lights glowing. Popcorn machine running, cotton candy spinning, and behind each counter someone stood. Smiling, waiting. I stepped backward again. My foot hit something. I looked down. A ticket stub. Fresh, bright ink, printed with tonight's date, and my name. I felt my stomach twist. I never bought a ticket. The girl in the booth tilted her head slightly. "You're already inside," she said softly. A bell rang near the roller coaster. A train shot down the track, screaming metal, sparks flying slightly from the rails, and every seat was filled, not with silhouettes this time, with faces, pale, grinning. Two wide eyes reflecting the lights. They all turned their heads in perfect sync as the train passed, and they looked directly at me. The carousel music shifted slightly. Slower now, minor key. The horses' painted eyes seemed to follow me as they rose and fell. I stepped away from the entrance plaza, heart racing. This wasn't a power glitch. This wasn't trespassers playing a prank. This was something else, something replaying. I headed toward the arcade building. The doors were open, lights flickering inside, machines running, prize counters glowing. I stepped in cautiously. The air inside smelled like old sugar and rust. Every arcade cabinet was powered. Games playing demo loops. Tickets spilling endlessly from a skee-ball machine. No one touching it. At the far end of the arcade a prize counter attendant stood. A tall man in a striped vest, hands resting on the glass. He smiled slowly when he saw me. "You've won enough," he said calmly. "I haven't played anything," I replied. "You've been playing for years." The lights flickered hard, and for half a second the arcade wasn't empty. It was packed, children running, parents laughing, games flashing, and I was there, standing at a machine, younger, smaller, feeding tokens in, focused, obsessed. The vision snapped back, empty again. The attendant was closer now, without walking. "You never left," he said gently. I backed toward the exit, but the doors were gone, just a solid wall where they used to be. The music outside grew louder, faster, layered with laughter, layered with something underneath, a low mechanical hum, like something massive turning beneath the ground. The attendant leaned forward slightly. "You stayed past closing." I shook my head. "No," he smiled wider. "Everyone does." The lights went out for 1 second. When they came back, every arcade machine screen showed the same image. A security camera view, from above, the entrance plaza. The Ferris wheel, the carousel, and me, standing in the middle of it, not moving. But the time stamp on the footage was from 2008, the year the park closed, and I was there. Frozen in place, for hours, for days. The footage fast-forwarded rapidly, time passing, seasons changing, my figure still standing there, unmoving, unaging, and then the screen went black. The attendant whispered, Midnight never ended. Something heavy shifted beneath the floor. The entire arcade vibrated slightly outside the Ferris wheel stopped abruptly, every carriage swinging slightly. The laughter cut off instantly. Dead silence. The park lights flickered violently, then stabilized. The attendant pointed behind me slowly. I turned. The wall where the exit should be was now a hallway, dark, leading deeper underground, and from that darkness I heard it, a ride operator's voice over an old speaker system. Final ride of the night. My name echoed through the park speakers, clear, inviting. The attendant smiled gently. You're up next. You're up next. The attendant's voice didn't echo this time. It was steady, certain. Behind me, the dark hallway pulsed faintly with a dull yellow glow, like old carnival bulbs flickering somewhere far below. The speaker system crackled. Again, final ride of the night. My name repeated. Clear, perfect pronunciation. Like it had been rehearsed for years. The arcade machines powered down all at once. The only light now came from the hallway. I turned slowly toward the attendant. He hadn't moved, but his smile was wider, too wide, his jaw stretching slightly lower than it should. You stayed past closing, he reminded me. I was a kid, I said, my voice unsteady. If that even happened. His eyes darkened. You never went home. The floor trembled faintly beneath us. Like gears turning far underground, I looked back toward the hallway. The glow intensified slightly, and then I heard something climbing, metal clanking rhythmically, like a roller coaster being pulled up its first hill, but it was coming from below us, deep underground, slow, click, click, click. I didn't want to go down that hallway, but the arcade behind me had no doors anymore, just blank walls, no windows, no exit. The park outside had gone silent, too silent, like it was holding its breath. I stepped into the hallway. The attendant didn't follow. He simply called out softly, "Enjoy the ride." The hallway sloped downward, not steep, but gradual. The walls were lined with old carnival posters, bright, cheerful illustrations of smiling families. But every face had been scratched out, except one, mine. Each poster showed me at different ages, holding cotton candy, riding the carousel, standing near the Ferris wheel, growing older, never leaving. The air grew warmer as I descended. The mechanical clicking grew louder, more rhythmic, more deliberate. Finally, the hallway opened into a massive underground chamber, and my breath left me. The roller coaster tracks ran through it, looping through concrete pillars, diving into darkness, climbing into shadow. The entire structure of the park existed down here, hidden, layered beneath the surface. And at the loading platform, a single train waited, lights on, empty seats, harnesses raised. A ride operator stood beside it, uniform, crisp, hat perfectly aligned, face shadowed, but I already knew. It was me again, not distorted, not stretched, perfectly. Normally looked up as I approached. "Right on time," he said pleasantly. "I'm not getting on," I replied immediately. He tilted his head slightly. "That's not how this works." The ground behind me shifted. I turned. The hallway I came through was gone, replaced by solid concrete. The only path now was forward, toward the train. "You missed your last ride," the operator continued calmly. "In 2008, I shook my head. "That doesn't make sense." He smiled gently. "You begged to stay." A flicker of memory hit me. A distant image, bright lights, laughter. A younger version of myself crying near the exit gate, refusing to leave, screaming that I wanted one more ride. One last time. My parents arguing with staff, the park closing, me slipping away while they were distracted. running back toward the roller coaster. The memory felt buried, like something I had forgotten on purpose. "You hid," the operator said softly. In the maintenance tunnel, the mechanical clicking grew louder, right beneath the platform now. "You waited for one more ride." The train harnesses snapped down violently, one by one, without anyone sitting in them, and when the power shut off, his voice lowered. "You stayed." The platform lights flickered, and for a split second I saw it, a small child standing near the tracks, alone, in the dark, crying, then silence. The image vanished. My chest tightened painfully. "You didn't leave?" The operator whispered. "You became part of closing." The train's headlights turned toward me slowly. Though it wasn't moving, the front of it tilted slightly, like a predator raising its head. "You keep the park running," he continued calmly, "once a year." I stepped backward instinctively. "No, yes." He gestured toward the train. "The final ride resets the clock." The mechanical clicking stopped. The train jerked forward slightly, waiting. "If you don't ride," he said softly, "it doesn't close." Above us, I heard the Ferris wheel begin turning again, the carousel music faintly drifting downward. The park was restarting, because I hadn't completed something. The operator stepped closer, and now I could see his face clearly. It wasn't just me. It was every version of me, layered slightly out of sync, younger, older, different expressions overlapping faintly. "You don't age here," he said. "You just wait." The train's harnesses lifted slowly, inviting. The mechanical lift chain reset. Click, 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 click. The operator stepped aside. "This is the last ride." I looked at the tracks, looping into darkness, at the underground ceiling stretching impossibly high, at the posters lining the walls, at the faint echo of children's laughter above. If I refused, would I stay here forever? Running the park, calling out names, waiting for another lost kid. If I rode, would it finally end? The speaker system crackled. "Park closing in 5 minutes." My name echoed again. I stepped toward the train, slowly, sat down in the front seat. The harness snapped down over my shoulders instantly, cold metal pressing tight. The operator smiled. "Thank you for visiting Silverwood Shores." He pressed a button. The train launched forward violently. Into darkness, the underground tunnel twisted sharply, too sharp, physics bending. The tracks looping in impossible angles. I screamed as the train climbed vertically, the chamber disappearing below me, the surface lights of the park glowing faintly above. We reached the peak, paused, and I saw it. The entire amusement park, but it wasn't abandoned. It was frozen in time. Families mid-step, workers mid-wave, children mid-laugh. Everything paused at midnight 2008, waiting. The train tipped forward, and instead of descending it, went straight through the image, shattering it like glass. Everything went white. I woke up in the parking lot. Morning sun blinding, the park silent, dead. Again, no lights, no music, no movement. My camera lay beside me, still recording. The footage showed me entering at 11:30 p.m., walking into the arcade, then standing perfectly still for 6 hours. At exactly 6 o'clock a.m., I collapsed. No lights ever turned on. No rides moved. No staff appeared. Just me, alone. I drove home shaking. Didn't upload the footage, didn't speak about it. But every year since on October 14th, that exactly midnight, my phone alarm goes off. I never set it. The notification reads, "Final ride reminder," and last night I received something new, a digital ticket attached to the notification. Admit 1, valid, lifetime.